damn cup.
Yeah, my cup.
No ice.
No ice. Just water. All right. Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we meet here every Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. in order to ignite our magic, those abracadabra moments that lead us to the dream that we have for ourselves. And so I'm going to give some time for you guys to come on. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I hope you came to get a refill. Hope you guys caught the Friday show. So I'm going to give you guys some time to get in. Becoming Your Magic Power Hour is really about recognizing that you are your own magic. How are you your magic? You are your magic every time you recognize that it is the moments that you tap into yourself in order to get that refill, in order to show up like only you can, where you acknowledge the power that is you. So, hold on. And so I was eating my quick lunch. Now I got some time. I'm going to find you guys. Today, I was going to keep it simple, do some poetry out of my Precious Thoughts from the Soul book, just to hear some powerful encouragement. I never know what anybody needs to hear, where they are, and so I'm just going to allow the heavens to lead us to where it is that we need to jumpstart this week with. I hope you guys are doing an amazing job with hiring yourselves. Oh my God, that has been one of the most challenging challenges to myself. I had to tell myself, no matter how much I get done or no matter how much I do, it's challenging for structure for me. And so learning to literally not go on when I find time, but make the time. And so life for me was always okay, I know I have this, I have a deadline. I procrastinate, I make it to the last minute, and then I show up in it. And so what the higher myself is challenging me to do is to structure that time, be intentional with the 24 hours that God gives us every day. Clock into us enough to make the difference, clock into us enough to see whatever it is that we're missing, because God gives us all the same amount of time. He has no respect of persons. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day. The question is, what are we doing with our time? What are we doing with our intention? What are we doing with our thoughts? Are we actually activating them in a way that is leading us closer to our destiny, closer to our dream for ourselves? And so it's the season of getting in action for your attraction. It's about really taking the time to recognize that becoming your magic is just saying that I know that I make the choices. I believe in me. I understand that wand is my faith. That wand that I say abracadabra, that's my faith. That means I believe in this thing. And so anytime I get into a moment where I think that I cannot remove or add something in my life, I got to remember about the magic that is me. I have to remember that the choices, what I choose to say about myself, how I choose to operate, how I choose to show up, is basically what the magic is all about. It is the evidence of your belief system. It is the evidence of what you are saying to yourself, what you are co-signing in your life. And so I come here every Monday through Friday with the intention to hopefully give you a refill, to hopefully change the way you are thinking on this day, or to increase your wavelength, that vibration that you're already on. Because we often are in places and we often are going through certain situations where we are there, we are in the moment, we are living, but we're not actually seeing the moment. We're not actually embracing the moment. We're not actually showing up in the moment. Why? Because we are distracted. And so being able to understand that you get to think yourself into your victories. What you say about yourself is what you believe about yourself. What you plan in your head before somebody else gets to is what the two that touch and agree. And so we got to change what it is that we're agreeing on so that we can get those refills. And so as we refill our phones, our cups, all so many inanimate objects in order to get it the object, We are the object. We are the vessel. In order to get it to continue to function like it was created to function, we got to keep on refilling it to keep on using it. And so often we continue to show up in our roles and titles and pour, but we don't refill the vessel that is us so that people can continue to use us. And so that's why I said I choose me is selfless. It's not selfish. It allows you to recognize that until I pour into me, until I see me, until I celebrate the me that I want to be, I will never be able to come into my fullness of pouring into anybody else. I won't have the capacity, the capability, the mindset to know what I can give to you. Because God says, treat your neighbor as you treat yourself. And so we got to get into a better relationship with self. That I am, that power piece, that thing. Once we get into good relationship with self, we get to see just how magical we are. Because now we're awake, now we're aware, now we're conscious of the magic that we possess. We're conscious of the strength that we hold from the evidence of yesterday. And so I want us to look into our yesterdays in order to seize the evidence of the magic that God is saying that you have. Like there is nothing that you need that you don't already have. There's not a relationship that you don't have access to that somebody is holding that key. And so I need you to figure out who you are. I need you to get those certain refills so that you can function on your highest level in order to see me in every situation, in order to hear me in the room, in order to be conscious enough to listen to those seeds of thoughts that I gave you. I want you to believe in the I am that I made you. And so I want to show up here as often as I can in order to hopefully instill the I am in you, that God is whispering to me about me, that he's whispering to me about you, and that you can show up in a way that other people will see God through you. Other people will know what's possible through you. Other people will believe in the inevitable because of you. Why? Because you become that resilient part of life, right? Melissa, you were just reading resilience last week in your book. And that's what it was all about. It was about being resilient in your walk. And resilience means that I'm going to continue to strive. I'm going to continue to get up. That I won't be stuck. I'm going to live an unconditional life, meaning with no expectations, meaning that every moment that meets me, I will find who I am supposed to be in there. I won't be distracted or destroyed about the expectation I had on the area of my life, which I have no idea what it means. And so we're learning ourselves every day in order to teach ourselves so that we can show up in the magic that is us, so that we can be confident in who we are, so that we can be confident in what it is that we have to offer. And so I think that's what's so key. That's so key. And we all have that gift. We all have the gift of showing up. We all have the gift of making a difference because we came into the room. And many of you who I see that's on right now, hello, Aunt Karen. How are you doing? Hello, Boo, sis. How are you doing on this Monday? Yes, resilience is bounce back, period. And it is your ability to get on with it, get over it, get up from it, get through it, right? It's not what you go through, it's what you grow through that makes you who you are. That's the resilience, what you were able to grow through. So now you have the evidence of your survival mechanism. So now that I know that I'm resilient, and that I can survive, then I don't have an expectation on any area of my life because I know that no matter what comes at me, that I have the power to overcome it. Why? Because it is a mindset. It's what I tell myself. It's what I believe about myself. If I believe I'm unstoppable, then guess what? Ain't nothing going to stop me. And so I got to walk it like I talk it. I got to believe it. I got to believe what I'm telling myself. And so that's why it's important for us to be in the room where I am's. Being positive about where we're going and trying to set ourselves up with the people that is going to bring us that positivity, that little extra boost when we need it. And so I think that's what life is all about. Recognize that we are the boost. We are the magic. I'm starting on the love chapter today. And what time are you going to be on today, Melissa, so we can tune in and check out that love chapter? Because that's the key. I mean, everything that we do, it starts with love. We know the slogan for I Choose Me is love grows everything. 1 Corinthians said the greatest of this is love. And I think that's what we have to recognize, that we have the ability to love on a certain level. And so within the room that you're in, you have the power to love. You have the power to lead. You have the power to shine. And you have the power to allow somebody to see just how good God is through your love. Your love for yourself first, because you can't love somebody else until you love them on yourself, because they're going to watch how you're treating yourself. They're going to watch how you're loving yourself. You know, we got to get into the place where people are competing for the love that we have for ourselves. You know, you ever see people say, you know, when you're in a relationship, everybody wants you. Everybody wants who's wanted. And so you got to show up and want yourself in order for other people to want you too. Like, you are that inspiration. You are that information. You know, you are that piece that matters. And so I see we're at the 11 minute. And so I'm going to get into 5 here, and so that I can share into my group real quick before I begin the topic. But this is the time to like, share, tag a friend, like, share, tag a friend. You see that? So now y'all have the ability to go on there. You see Melissa. Look, I got you as a special guest, Melissa. Now hilarious. So Melissa, if y'all saw that ticket under there, please be sure to go on there and make sure you order Melissa's book, because let me tell you something, it is amazing. It is so amazing. Got me some water. I'm super excited because we're going to read some poetry today from Precious Thoughts from the Soul. And I believe I'll do one also from 365 Days. So we're going to hear some nice, I don't even know what poetry we're going to listen as of right now. But I want you guys to know that life is all about using our voice to make a difference. Life is all about recognizing that what it is that we've experienced, what it is that we've gone through, all of those different things is what makes us great. It's what makes us special, and what makes us stand up. And so when we begin to stand out and up with the gift that we are, we begin to make those huge impacts, those huge differences that we don't even notice that we're making at the time. And so when you have the energy to know that you're magical, when you have the knowledge of your gift, you get to show up in ways that are life-changing. They're life-changing. I don't know if you guys are in the I Hire Myself challenge. That's a group on Facebook. But I love that Melissa yesterday gave her testimony. She gave her testimonial of her actually getting a call about her book. Why did she get a call about her book? Because she put it out there. Why did they know that they can call Melissa? Because they needed something? Because she showed up. And so God said, ask in order to receive and to show up, because now I know what I need from you, because you made your I am clear. You made your that experience clear. You made why you became necessary clear. And so people that she have met years ago are able to know that, oh, I can go to Melissa. I remember her reading this about herself. I remember her reading from her book. I remember her talking about lessons, and I remember that. And so we show up every day, not for today, but most importantly for tomorrow, for the impact of tomorrow generations, for the people who will sit with her book and be changed, for the people who will see their names in her book because they'll never have the courage to write their own. And so this, like I said, Melissa's book is huge because there's so many different testimonials of so many people who I know for a fact won't find the time or the willpower or the energy or the support to live in the dream that they have. And that's why I show up every day, because I want you to know I support you in your dreams. When people say, you got, Rondell, you have this person, and I'm saying, yeah, but I had me first. I showed up for me first. That's why I was able to get an amazing man. That's why I was able to grow with him, because I showed up for me first. He showed up for him. Together, we created a lane that works for everybody. And so in order for us to grow together, we got to show up and know ourselves. be willing to go through the climb. Nobody said the climb was going to be easy. It said it was going to be necessary. And if you want to be able to look off of a mountain, you got to be willing to go through the climb. And so life is about recognizing that everything we do and every place that we go is about us climbing into our destinies. And we are at the 15-minute mark, and I have yet to find myself so I can share and be done. Oh, thank you, Vaughn. I love the Vaughn. They are amazing. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There you go. Okay, so I'm going to share to my group, and we're going to get some poetry. Y'all, how many of y'all ready to hear some poetry? Oops, I didn't even mean to put it in that one. My bad. How many of y'all are ready to hear some poetry? Spirit, okay. Okay, that's good. That's it. Melissa says, show up today for the impact of tomorrow. Amen to that. And that's what it is. Like all those days that I was back in 2016 when I started doing live, I done wrote the vision years before, and I would have meetings, since I can remember, since I was 17, 18, 19, 20. Kids in the house. I've always done meetings at the house for women's empowerment. So that's just been me. But live, being like here virtually, I had put that vision board back in 2012. I want to start a movement. I choose me. I want to go live. And honey, I was so scared the first time. So afraid. To the point where people are like, well, you always be speaking. I don't know what it is about the live. That was just scary. You know why it's scary? Because there's so many people that hear you that you never even know. There's numbers, you just don't know how you're impacting. 2 years later, I would get a call saying, man, I just wanted to come back and call you once I had it all together. I want you to know what this meant and what this meant. And so I realized that showing up before is the evidence of today. And so life is about listening to yourself, trusting the process, and going because you know it's bigger than you. And if your passion isn't going to put somebody else in position, then it's not bigger than you. So people want to know, what am I doing? Is it bigger than me? If your passion won't put somebody else in position, then it's not bigger than you. And so when we want to find out what our gifts and what our passion is, what we came to bring, we got to ask ourselves, is what brings me joy? Is what I show up in effortlessly, putting other people in position to show up effortlessly in their life in that area? Then that means then you are living on a spectrum that is so much bigger than you. And that's why you show up. You show up because you don't even know who you're saving. You show up because you don't even know where it's going. You just know that you am. And so that's all it requires. The rest is God. The rest is God, and it becomes the evidence. It was an honor to get a call from someone needing words from my book. How many times has that happened to you, Precious? I know I call on you for your words many times. Now I know what it feels like, how it feels to make an impact. What it feels like assignment. It feels like assignment fulfilled every time, because life is about recognizing that you can only help somebody if you actually show up to help somebody. And the intention that's attached to that helping is all about what you wanted from whatever it is that you did. And so you wanted to impact, and that's why you're impacting, because your intention will always be met with a kiss from God. And it'll blow your mind how something that you thought was simple, that you stepped up in, you release all that fear and showed up anyway, then you get to see what God does when he multiplies you. And so it wasn't that I had it all together, it's that I was going to show up anyway with what I had, that it was going to be enough. And that anything that I needed added to me, I would find in the room that I went to be enough in. And so we got to go to the rooms to be enough in order to find the extra. But if I don't show up as enough, then I won't even have access to getting extra. And that's what the key is. And so knowing what you have is enough allows you to get that more. Because when I come in my enough and I give from that, that's the sacrifice. When I give from my enough, not having it all where I want it to be, not having overflow, but when I come from where I am and I can say, listen, I came to you even though I didn't have this. I came to you even though I was tired. I came to you even though, how many times do you say that to yourself? How many times do you say that when you're actually heading forward to do the things that you do daily as human beings? So you know that means that I am moving forward in my enough. When I don't think I have enough, then I'm not moving. So evidence of you being grateful for what you have is the evidence of you moving. And the extra comes from your movement. It comes from you showing up. It comes from you sacrificing to give. Every time they went to sacrifice to give in the Bible, they got more than enough because they came with what they had. And so until we are willing to show up with what we have, we can never think that we'll get more than enough. So we gotta fix how we're showing up so that we can fix where we're going. It feels like a spiritual epiphany, a real wow moment, an abracadabra moment. I told you, stick with me, baby, and you go places. Stick with me and you'll go places. And so we're going to read first from Precious Thoughts from the Soul. For those of you that don't know, you can get it at preciouspaulin.com. I'll put that banner up there. In case you're interested, while you're hearing me read, you know where to go. You can get it from I Choose Me Bling Boutique and preciouspaulin.com. This book I wrote in 2007. It was my first ever book. I have an actual CD that I did as a launch of the book in 2006. So I traveled around and had a couple of poems on that CD. To this day, people still tell me that they never take that CD out their car. To this day. So I'm just pleased to know that my words are just going from years and years. And I wanted to share some poetry out of this book. So let's see. Which one will we go? Where will we go? So we have chapter 1, giving honor where honor is due. We have chapter 2, inside your questions, you may find your answers. We have chapter 3, defining moments in life. Chapter 4 is pit stops on your journey to destiny. Chapter 5 is special people that have made a difference. Chapter 6 is special celebrations. Chapter 7 is soul searching leads to validation. And chapter 8 is hold on until your season. So if you heard all of those, for those of you that are on, put 1, 2, 3. What chapter do you want me to read from? Chapter 1, giving honor where honor is due. Chapter 2, inside your questions, you may find your answers. Chapter 3, defining moments in life. Chapter 4, pit stops on your journey to destiny. Chapter 5, special people that have made a difference. Chapter 6, special celebrations. Chapter 7, soul searching leads to validation. And chapter 8, hold on until your season. So I'm looking for the votes. I see Melissa got chapter 2. So you can still put in your chapter. I'm going to start with Melissa. She spoke first. So we're going to do a poem out of chapter 2 first. We got questions of the heart and soul. Who are you? Have you embraced your today? A taught love, and how tall is your ladder? So we're going to do, have you embraced your today? 15. Let's see what that's about. When you write, I swear you forget. When you write this much. Okay. Have you embraced your today? This is on page 15 in chapter 2. What is today? Have you made it more than just your yesterday's tomorrow? For today is your present, a gift of life from God. And tomorrow, your today will be gone, never to return again. So then I ask, what is your today? Will you make it count as if you have no tomorrow? Or are you stuck in your tomorrow that you think you have time for today? Or are you so stuck, in your tomorrow that you think that you have time for today? We must live our life to the fullest and make every second count. For our life is like a clock, and going with the ticks is what it's about. It's like never exhausting the possibility of what our present means to our future. For we must take a stand in God's plan and make our today better than our yesterday. There are no breaks in the journey of life. For we win some, we lose some, but in the end, those very moments are what makes us who we are. For we must always realize we are always in the present. And we can never go to the past, and the future lies in the distant presence. So make today count again, I say. So tomorrow you live to smile on your yesterday. No hard feelings, no regrets, no I wish I could go back. Just the mere satisfaction of the hand that you've been dealt. For God gave us the gift to make choices, which holds the abundance of life in our hands. So let's make our yesterdays tomorrow and our tomorrows yesterday mean more than just today. Let's make it mean life in a more positive way. And let's make God our guide to our present day to day, with the clear understanding that our present stands in place of our future. So we must live our present as we will want our future to be. Have you embraced your today? I think that was a word. How about we go here? This says, who are we? Who are you? Do you ever sit and wonder what's your purpose? You know you are here, but for what? The hardest part of living is capturing your true essence. So often we capture the essence of everyone else's expectations. What do you expect from yourself? That is the true question. We walk this path of life, which has a door every 10 feet, and we often ask, what door do I enter? And so often we pass a door, enter the next one, and wonder, should we have skipped that door? And what would have been different if we chose the door? But the answer became obvious. Every door of life teaches you a lesson, and each door teaches you a different lesson. So the choices you make determines your future. So it's not so much what door you choose, but it's what you do when you enter that door. You determine your obstacles and your victories. Just remember, God will not give you anything you cannot bear. So enter each door with a firm backbone, and the path of life will become a trip of expectations you have made for yourself and not what others have made for you. That's who are you? Let me see. So on Karen says, chapter 3 and 7. Yes, make every second count. See, this poem brought the tears out. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad. So let's see. Chapter 3. What's in chapter? Let's find something in chapter 3. Defining moments in life. I found it in me to love me. Let's see. Let's go on page 27. I found it in me to love me. Let's see what I was on in. Wait a minute. Okay, page 25. I found it in me to love me. I have this self-hatred for myself, and I don't know why. And this confusion to my spirit forces me to cry. When I look in the mirror, there's a beauty I yearn to see. I'm tired of being upset because I don't want to be me. Looking at my reflection, I can find so much to be wrong. And sometimes I feel like the lyrics to an old sad love song. Because I'm looking for the wrong and something that can be so right, which then causes me to cry myself to sleep every night. I think that I'm fat, and in reality, I'm underweight. I think that, I think food is the answer when I'm in a depressing state. I think my nose is too big, or that my face isn't cute enough. Or just the idea to stop smoking is a concept too tough. I think I'm not worthy enough to have my dreams fulfilled. And that's because I'm still holding on to my childhood pain when I think that I'm healed. You see, the very thing I imitate is a self-hatred I have stored. And that's because in my life, I have never felt adored. So now I'm trying to constantly find a reason to not be worthy of love. And I forgot about my Heavenly Father who watches from above. See, if I can find a reason to hate myself, then your rejection won't hurt a bit. But this standard I have lived my life by has me stranded in this bottomless pit. Now I learn what I have to do is love myself in every way and make you step up to the plate. Because I realize, how can you value me if I'm filled with hate? So I decided to love myself for everything I am, to treat myself as my very own best friend, to value what God created me to be, realizing that we all have our flaws on our road to destiny. So I will no longer be a victim at the hands of my own, because I decided I'm ready to show up and be grown. I'm ready to tackle my future with a new positive view and start to embrace the love that God sent through you. I've wasted enough time, and now my purpose I'm ready to walk in, which now makes me feel like I have given rebirth to my spirit again. I remember writing this poem. I wrote this poem back when I was watching Oprah. A lot of these poems came from me sitting down watching Oprah, because she always had so many different authentic topics about people who were removing the shame and getting in their lane, who was telling their stories, who were brave enough to give us their insecurities on a platform with multiple people sitting there judging their pain, their shame, their guilt. And so a lot of my poetry, that's why I love her so much, even though I never met her, because a lot of my poetry came from being able to watch that and see just what it is that it takes to show up. And then think about my history of being molested and being shamed and holding on to my secrets. I mean, I learned by watching them just how much you can change somebody's life. And so I was inspired through so many people's testimonials watching Oprah. She is awesome. This poem is called What a Good Parent Is. It's on page 22. We're still in chapter 3. Still in chapter 3. Yes, we are. Because chapter 3 is defining moments in life. A good parent is not perfect in all that he or she does, but they are perfect in the aspect of unconditional love. But there is a time they must let go so their child can find its own soul. For all that you teach them will never give them their story. For without all their pain, they'll never find God's own glory. As a parent, you must teach them until they come of age, but then you must release them into their young adult stage. Don't think that when you let them go, they are going to be lonely, because that is the time when they will live their own testimony. For your children came through you and you have protected them thus far. But now it is God's time to mold them into who they really are. Because it's not all about what you think people see, but it is all about what God called them to be. And the process won't be easy to watch your child go through pain. But as a good parent, you know there is sunshine after rain. And you may even be ashamed of the choices that they make as it seems to reflect through. But you must let go of that spirit and realize that it is bigger than you. For God has a purpose for us all, and there is no exception to the rule. Just hold on to the fact that you have provided your children with the proper tools. For a good parent knows to God be the glory, and that just as you have, they must live their own story. For now that they're grown, your job is quite simple. When the world turns their back, you must be your child's dimple. For your protection is not needed, but a friend indeed, to help nurture the plant in which you started the seed. Just be there for your child and give them your hand to hold. For the Father of us all is getting ready to mold. As a good parent, just be there holding your badge of love and watch as God transcends and works his magic from above. And so I want you to know what a good parent is. I wrote that. Look, this book came out in 2007, so it was way before my kids were grown. I think I only had 2 kids at this time. So it's just about forward thinking, understanding. I had this saying that our children come through us, they don't belong to us. Another thing I learned watching Oprah, not actually that slogan, I picked that up, I created that idea, but I was watching how often we recognize that when our kids go to the next stages, no matter what they're dealing with, no matter what they're going through. Even my husband was dealing with some things back in his 20s, and his mom was all upset, and I'm like, listen, they don't belong to you. Let them go through, let them grow through, let them get it, because what your job is to show up, to trust in the job that you've done. They said, give them what they need and they'll always come back, right? Because that's just how life is. So create the foundation well, and then trust that they too have to build a testimony. And so for all of these kids that are age now, for all of you parents that are stressed about, oh, I didn't raise them like that. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, they're embarrassing. Remember that you were embarrassing once upon a time. Remember that you had to learn some lessons once upon a time. Remember that nobody is exempt from the molded process, and that you were just a vessel in which God got them into this world. And so your job is to be transparent enough that they can come to you so that they can bestow upon wisdom in their life. Because wisdom is being able to learn from others' mistakes. But if you never share your mistakes, how can they learn? They have to walk through it because we are not transparent enough. And so when it comes to the point where they are figuring it out in the world, then we have to accept the fact that maybe we should have had more conversations, more real conversations, to key to the time so that they can trust us. Because it's not that we're saying that we're perfect. It's that we're saying that those imperfect actions took us a step further from where we wanted to be. It's being real. It's being raw. It's being authentic, especially when they're growing into that part where they're walking it out on their own. They need to know that you got better advice than their friends. So they think you don't know nothing because you ain't been nothing. You've been perfect your whole life. Well, then you set yourself up to not be the validation that they need, to not be the wisdom, to not be who you were called to be. You came in for you to give to them what they need for who they were called to be. So you're just a two. That means you have something for them. And so once we recognize that, we stop making it personal. Oh, my kid, well, you guys' kid, what you doing? Okay, so let's think about it. And so I think I write all my poems with a beginning, a middle, and so that we all can have a idea, a voice. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I think we're gonna do one more from this chapter 3, and then we're gonna go into chapter 7. So this poem is called "Moving on page 28 in Precious Thoughts from the Soul. It says, "It's a new day, and I have cried my last tear. No more crying over the past, no more counting up the years. The years that had passed as I stood still in a place, because the pain that I've been through, I left plastered on my face. I've allowed my face to tell a story because of the hurt in my eyes. And I have to remind myself of Dr. Maya Angelou, who says, 'And still I rise.' I've allowed my body to be weakened and my spirit to be torn. And I have to remind myself of Oprah Winfrey, who says, 'Dream a bigger dream and let your spirit move on.' I've allowed my soul to go unprotected with all the things that I do. And I have to remind myself of Dr. Robin Smith, who says, 'Stop allowing people to put their trash inside of you.' I've allowed my vision to be cloudy when I try to look at me. And I have to remind myself of great ones like Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles, who saw when they couldn't see. They found the beauty of their existence even with the lack thereof. And they first used on themselves the ability to love. So when I now look at myself, I use a positive view. So when I to learn to love myself as God shows us to. For in this world, we are losing what our purpose is all about. To love ourselves and others and know that God put us here without a doubt. That we are put here not by accident, but with a destiny to fulfill. And know that our ups and downs are all a part of God's will. It's time that we embrace our journey and love what we see and be the living testimony God called us to be. For your pain was not in vain, but for others when passing through, so others can embrace the strength they see inside of you. Because if everyone would start to live their own lives and not reflect the lives of each other, then we can start becoming more valuable to one another. A prophecy will begin to be fulfilled when we learn to love and embrace who we are. Because from the source of our pain, we will find the strength to move far. May God bless your mind and heart as you listen to my plea, as we stop imitating one another and be the best that we can be. That's moving on. I'm telling you, I Choose Me is in the soul of it. It is my I am. It makes me think when I read these poems before I even decided in 2012 I want to start an I Choose Me movement. You can see the self-love in every poem. You can see God in every poem, and so a lot of these poems I've written when I was 15 and 16 and 17 and 18, some in my early 20s. But the point of the matter is you are who you are from the beginning. You are who you are from the very, very beginning. And you're just really discovering yourself more. And so now I'm like in the I Choose Me in the middle of it. And I realize hindsight is 2020. Who you are leaves clues. Maybe if you wrote the vision down and made it plain, you'll get an idea. Can you believe that I wrote the play, Picking Up the Broken Pieces, before I wrote on my vision board? I wanted to do the I Choose Me movement. But when I went to revamp my play and put scenes around it, which I wrote about 10 years ago, when I went to go in it, I realized that the play had choose yourself. You got to choose you all through the play. I didn't remember that, but subconsciously you are who you are. That's why I say falling in love with yourself, getting in relationship with yourself, tapping into those gifts are going to allow you to figure out what is the I am that makes you stand out. What is the gift that you came to bring? What is the soul print that you came to offer to this world? What is the impact? What is that force, that impact that is you? That's what life is teaching us through the story. If we pay attention, if we write stuff down, if we go back and read about ourselves. You know how often I got to go back and read about myself through my books where I do the grateful journals and, just slogans. And I mean, like, if y'all, I got books and books. I gotta write it down on paper. I'm like old school like that. I cannot write it in a computer first. The computer is always second. I always got 2 steps. I don't trust the computer totally. I don't. So let's go to chapter 7. I hope you guys are enjoying. Yes, 365 days of loving myself. Come on now, Aunt Karen. Oh, I needed that parent poem today. I feel full. Thank you, Queen. I'm telling you, you got to understand we be beating ourselves up because we trying to get in God's way. We don't know. They just came through us, baby. Okay, so 7 is soul searching leads to validation. So the first poem is sisterhood. So let's go to 67 and read about sisterhood. Come on, let's see what we was thinking here. Sisterhood is on page 67 in chapter 7 of the book, Soul Validation. Soul searching leads to validation. Ain't that a word right there? There is a sisterhood that we long to share, but we let go of our ego and lose that unfriendly stare. For we face the same obstacles and often our pains are the same. But in each other, we find a chance to place blame. Place blame on the life in which God called us to be. But it is in your world I find my sin, which is called jealousy. Why is it I find envy in the gift God placed in you? Instead of finding the strength in the things we once went through? Why is it I listen to everything but the little voice that speaks to me, which tells me to accept my life and be all that I can be? Why can't I just be happy for your praise? Why can't I just be happy for you and praise God when it's your season, instead of secretly trying to destroy your dreams for no apparent reason? There is a sisterhood in this world that we long to embrace, a chance to bridge out the gap and take our friendships to another place, a place to where honesty rings true, where I can learn to love God's divinity in you. For we are created in God's image, and to be jealous of you because of your life, just makes us that lonely shadow walking in the night. You know what a shadow is when light is connected to the dark? Is this the place in your life where you want to make your mark? Question your motives and start to love from the heart. And this is when the revelation of sisterhood will start. We all have the power to make this sisterhood movement true, to shower each other with the love God placed in me and you. So I challenge all women to take a stand in this nation, to start creating true bonds to pass down to our future generations. You know, I think that one was a personal one. But I think we're in a world where sometimes when you are walking in your gift and sometimes when you are confident about who you are, that there is a jealousy, a envy, and sometimes people try to dim their light because they don't want to talk about themselves. They don't want to boast about themselves. They don't want to sound conceited. But it's okay for us to sit in pity parties and talk about all the bad stuff that's going on, and nobody feels bad about crying with you. But, you know, you got to be careful about celebrating, about sharing all the accomplishments you made, because you don't want to sound like you're being boastful. You don't want to sound like you're trying to outshine. But God said to show up as you are. And that if they can't handle the you he called you to be, then guess what? There's some work for them to do. And so I wanted to write this sisterhood because I know it's too easy that we hide from ourselves. We hide from our thing, and we learn to complain, get comfortable complaining. And we'll call 30 people to complain and won't feel nothing bad about it. But we won't call to be excited because we don't want to set off the wrong intention. Or if we see somebody doing something good, instead of us saying, "Well, I'm proud of you. Well, let's win," we don't share each other. We don't celebrate each other. We don't praise each other because we're thinking about what we could be doing, or it's supposed to be my time. No, it's everybody's time. It's everybody's time at the same time. The time is all yours. It's what you do with the time. And so if somebody is showing differently in their time, honor them, celebrate them. That's good seeds that you put in the ground for when your time comes, when you're ready to be the who that God called you to be. And so we got to remove jealousy, and we got to start collaborating, because if one could bring 1,000 and two could bring 10,000, and what can 3, 4, and 5 bring? We bring about change. We bring about impact. We're a movement by ourselves, but we're a force when we're together. And so we got to be forceful in us celebrating each other so that we can impact on numbers that cannot be counted. We're counting these pandemic numbers that are by the millions. Do you know that that impact can be by the millions? And we showed up with that love for one another, where we really shared one another, where we really weren't jealous of one another, that we said somebody needs her, somebody needs him, that we wasn't holding everything to ourselves or holding ourselves to ourselves. And so we got to be very, very, very intentional about the who we show up as. You know why? Because it matters. Because we should love on each other. If we're jealous of somebody else, then we need to be asking them about that thing that got us jealous so that we can incorporate that in our lives. We don't need to be jealous. We need to find out some information and live with that type of thing. And I think that us as a people, as a sisterhood, honey, we can change the game. We really can. I have to do the paper and pen too. I'm telling you, I have to. I just can't help it. The kids are listening. Charlotte says she likes the sisterhood poem. She asked to see the book and is flipping through it now. Oh, that is awesome. I'm glad. We need to build each other up and be worried about beating one another. Oh, yeah, here we go. We need to build each other up and not be worried about beating one another. William Brown mentioned it on his early show today. Collaboration is better than competition. I mean, it's better. We just do more. You know, why are we not sharing each other? Why are we not celebrating with one another? Why are we not collaborating? Why everybody has to be the one star in the room? It's 1,000,000 stars. Everybody got the light. Why can't we all light up the room? When we all light up the room, guess where they are? There is no dark places. Nothing that can go underserved. God sent us to serve. Okay, here we go. This poem is beauty. I remember this. I wrote this poem for myself back when I was 16 years old. Ooh, 19. This is a 1996 poem, y'all. Y'all ready? This is on page 69. Beauty. When you say to me, I'm beautiful, what do you really mean? Are you talking about my physical or what you seen within? It's not that I don't appreciate the compliment when you talk about my face, but for me, that only gives me the characterization of your taste. But when you say to me, I'm beautiful, I much rather you be talking about my mind, heart, and spirit. Not only just the physical, but the qualities within it. When you say to me, I'm beautiful, I want you to be talking about my inside and out. So when you think about me, it's more than my face you think about. I want you to think about how I brighten up your day, how I put a smile on your face with just the things I say, how you can come to me no matter what's going on in your life because you know I'm always here to give you some advice. I want you to think about how I love Jesus Christ and I wouldn't be who I am if he wasn't in my life. So when you say to me, I'm beautiful, I want you to be talking about my whole well-being. Because when you call someone beautiful, you have to know there's much more meaning. So do me a favor. Don't tell me I'm beautiful if you're not talking about the whole me, because it's more than just the way I look, but it's the qualities you see. Because beauty is not anything if it's not to the core. And if you look a little deeper, I'm sure you appreciate my beauty much more. And so I wrote that at 16, being a victim of molestation, and just always feeling like the object per se. And so at that time, I remember everybody was doing Phenomenal Woman. Phenomenal Woman, that's me. And I thought about what about us? You know, what about the people who you automatically assume, well, it was because she was cute. It was because of that. Like you don't get to see the essence of me because sometimes I'm judged. And so I think everybody has a perspective that matters. It's about owning your perspective because somebody else needs to hear you. And so when I wrote beauty, I wanted people to see me beyond my looks, beyond that attraction, and get to know the real me, get to know the deeper me, to know that my beauty went to the core. And so that was a personal poem for me that I wrote at 16. Matter of fact, when I became homecoming queen in my senior year of high school, and I won homecoming queen, we had to do talent, and I actually did that poem in sign language, beauty. And so shout out to Aunt Diane. She took some hours with me and, taught me the poem so that when I did the homecoming queen, I wanted to do that poem. Because homecoming queen, most of the time it is a beauty pageant. And don't get me wrong, I love being beautiful on the outside, but I much more want people to value the beauty that is within me. That's priceless. And it makes the outside even more amazing. And so I wanted to have a voice for us who are beautiful, who feel like we get put out because we get judged differently. We don't get shared. It's so many different things that you go through when you're wondering, can you see me? Can you see what I'm going through? Can you hear me? And so another thing about sisterhood, we got to come together. There were so many friendships that I got in my senior year. And when we became friends, I remember the conversation. One of my girlfriends was like, girl, I thought you was conceited. You just came in and sat down and left. And so for 2 years, never said hello, never said anything, but just assumed that I was somebody. And what I was I had a full plate. I had to get to school. I had to go home. I had responsibilities that the average high school student didn't have. The average junior high school student didn't have. And so what seemed to be air about me was just a concentration, me being here, concentrating because I know that I got stuff to do and I got to move on. And so that poem I wrote because I wanted people to see beyond this and into this, because this is the bigger gift that God gave me. What he gave me in my heart, what he gave me in my soul, what he gave me in the being of me. And so I just wanted to validate that. And so I dedicate that to anybody who's been misunderstood, anybody who isn't seen for their fullness and their beauty. I want to know that I hear you. I overstand. I celebrate you. Yes, honey. I wrote that down in when I was 16. We need to. Oh yeah, I already said that. Amen, amen. And so look at that. We're 55 minutes in. That was just a few poems. There are so many poems. Please, if you would like to read to yourself, experience this, be sure to go to PreciousPaulin.com. At this time, we're going to figure out what is our I am for the day. As you know, at the end of every live, we get our I am. We are almost done with the cards. And you know what that means? That means we have almost had 52 lives already with the Become Your Magic Power Hour. A little less because, you know, when Rondell's on, he has gotten 2 cards on, I think, once or twice. So our numbers is definitely a little bit off. Okay. So at this time, we only got a few cards left in the I am. So right now, God, I just ask that you would touch us right now in a special way in the I am that you want us to know. We understand what it means to have precious thoughts from the soul, that all of our thoughts are precious and that they stem from the soul of who we've been created to be. And that if we would just walk it out in our experiences, if we would just trust the I am that you have sent us to be, then we can turn all of those experiences into wisdom of evidence of what it looks like to keep on going, to be resilient, to be unstoppable, to keep on searching, to find the I am that makes you one of a kind. And so right now, God, I ask that you would give them a special I am card that would touch the very soul of them on this day, on this Monday, on this power hour, in this moment in time, that we do not repeat another moment. And this I am is what you want them to know right here and right now. So without further ado, the I am today is I am worthy. Good God Almighty. I am worthy. And so what does it mean to be worthy? It means to know that all that has been invested in you makes you valuable. It makes you qualified. It makes you enough. As often as we do, I will definitely give you the exact definition of worthy. Thank you. Put I am worthy in there, baby. Okay, so worthy, having worth, merit or value, honorable or admirable, deserving or having sufficient worth. And so the whole movement of I Choose Me is about being worthy. It's about saying that you are enough. It's about being pre-qualified. It's about acknowledging that it's a relay race and somebody is relying on you. That the worth that you hold is the value that you see on that X factor. And so, you know, weeks ago or last year, we spoke about the X factor and being able to clock into that very special thing that makes you one of a kind in order to figure out the value for X. That value for X is what makes you worthy. And so what does it mean to be admirable? And to know what the investment that God had put in you was worth is to know that you're worthy. Know that you're irreplaceable. Know that nobody can be you better than you. And so those precious thoughts that you have in your mind that are part of your soul, your makeup, that is what makes you worthy. And so we got to be intentional about the thoughts that we have, about what we're attached to, about what we're listening to in this season. This is a very, 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 very important season in your life. I want y'all to hear me. It is a very, very, very important season in your life. And making sure that you are higher in yourself and making sure that you know the necessity that is you and making sure that you're willing to deliver on your assignment. It's assignment time. I said, end it out 1999 when we was, 2019, as we was ending out that going to 2020, we were talking about this being a leap year. That what we need is right now. That it's assignment time and that we're gaining favor We're gaining clarity into God's favor. We're being very intentional. That's knowing your worth. That's showing up because you know the value that is you. You know, when you get that new outfit, you get that new coat, you get that new car, how you moving out there? You moving like you know you're worthy. And so that's what I want you to carry in this season. The worth of your assignment. The worthiness of that perfect soul peace that you have. And so that's it. I am worthy. This has been an amazing hour. I love you guys. I am enough. I am worthy. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Become Your Magic Power Hour with yours truly, the Queen of Soul Stirring Inspiration, prophetic poet, you soul coach, you name it. Those roles and titles are mine. And I want to say that it gives my heart so much pleasure to show up and pour into you. I hope that you are taking these pours and pour it into somebody else. I hope that this soul stir is shaking you up to serve yourself in ways that you only imagined. Remember, it is a relay race and somebody is relying on you, and you are worthy, pre-qualified to show up like only you can, and that it is time for us to take our heartbeat and turn it into a what? A soul beat, in order to leave our soul print, because the fingerprint, it tells us what we got wrong in this world, but the soul print, it tells us what we got right. And what God got right is you. He definitely got you right. And so this is the season for us to fall in love with ourselves every single day with different I am affirmations. As I said, you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So it is your responsibility to stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. I love, love, love you guys. I will definitely see you guys this time tomorrow at noon. I hope you are taking amazing care of those souls, because I choose me. Hashtag no more excuses, because you were born enough. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. You've been listening to and been plugged into the Become Your Magic Power Hour. Come on now. Abracadabra, baby. Become your magic. Become your magic.